tank top. Yeah, we'll just wait for Sharon and whoever else. Mariska. Hey, Julian. Long time to see.
Yeah.
Hey, Sharon. Do my best. Do my best to be a little cool. This one. So we, yeah. I might. Well, maybe we'll start the class with a little meditation, and maybe open that door, so that the blows cooler air. Are you comfy there? You need a cushion or something? The man needs a cushion. That's a hard, that's a hard, that's a, he's sitting on a brick. Yeah.
Do you want to pray?
Sure. Thank you.
Welcome back, Amber. You made it back? Good. I was worried you wouldn't come back after that last dissatisfying question that you had. It's about the selfish Buddhist.
Oh no, but you.
Yeah, I cleared it up. Okay. I always get a little bit worried that I don't clear it because that question gets
a different context.
Good.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was, yeah.
Good. Because that question gets asked all the time.
That made me feel better that it
good.
wasn't just me.
No. It's a great question.
Crazy person and
No, it's a great question. I was a little bit concerned. I think I didn't answer it quite right, and you never come back. You know, but yeah, it's invariably I've been out of town or something, and people that have never heard these things before, or even if they have for a while, and they finally get the courage to just say it. You know, but I don't mean actually being selfish when you think about it, right? But anyway, good. So, we're rolling?
ACI
14.
14
Class 9. Yeah, we made it this far. Somehow we made it this far. And we'll see if we make it through the night. So that's nice. What do you got? You got that in the book there? Prayers in the book there? Perfect. Remember you want to do the kicking?
Sashi
Buki Shushin Meito Chanri Ravrinshi Nyande Genpadi Sangye Shindu Mite Uwa Yiyo Kunana Shima Shupasho Shudam Sopi Chaknam Shanshu Bhati Dhatni Kapsuchi Bhakti Jinyen Yupe Sunamki Gola Pinche Sangye Chupasho Shuram Saki Chakram Janchu Badu Dakni Kapsuchi Daki Jinyin Gite Sunamki Kyola Pechir Sange Jupasho Shuram Saki Chakram Janchu Badu Dakni Kapsuchi Daki Jinyin Gite Sunamki Kyola Pechir Sange Jupasho.
So let's do a little meditation. Taking some time now to connect with your body. Check in with your body. Notice it. Feel how it feels as it's been brought to this new location for the day, the evening. Settling it in, relaxing the body, especially from the waist down, so that you feel like you're in a good resting place. And you focus on your body from the waist up, noticing your shoulders, are they relaxed? Is your jaw relaxed? Does your heart feel open? Are your hands relaxed? Is there a gentle smile helping you to relax? Is your spine nice and straight as possible? Not ramrod straight, but feeling like it's comfortably straight. It's a handy practice to play around with bowing the spine, like arching the spine and bowing the spine, little micro movements in your spine, and notice how that affects how you feel in your body. And you may notice it affects your mental state. It seems to affect your mental state if you slouch. Something happens in your inner body, in your inner subtle body. Something's happening there with the prana. And if you then bring your heart forward and up a little bit and relax your shoulders down, you may notice a different feeling. Visualize the crown of your head reaching slightly towards the sky. Focus now on the breath as it enters and exits through the nostrils. Parking your mind's focus right at the tip of the nostrils. feeling the sensation of the air passing here. Just as a tool to anchor the mind. A way to help us be in the here and now. So now we're going to take a little visual journey. Visualize yourself on maybe a typical day that you have, typical day of the week where you would get up in the morning and leave your house or your apartment and you travel by the bus or by car, or you're walking, you're riding your bike. So you're seeing yourself travel in the sea. And in your travels, you see people coming and going. Some people are walking, some people may be on the bus with you. Maybe you're in a car and there are people on the bus that are beside you as your car is at the green light or the red light. You're walking and getting to see more. Or riding your bike. And lots of people. All going somewhere. Whether returning home or they're leaving their home, going to some destination. Some of them look relaxed, some of them look they're in a hurry, some of them are wishing they'd get more green lights so they could get to work on time. Now you're going to begin to pay a little bit attention to each single person that you're sort of seeing in your imagination. If you can base this on any day that you may have here in Vancouver. As you see a person drive by, you say, "I love you." And so in your mind, you just say it in your head, "I love you." And that's all you need to do. So you're going to do that as you walk, ride your bike, or take the bus, or drive your car. All the people that are coming and going, passing you, waiting in intersections. Just visualize yourself in that situation and begin to, one by one, as each person comes and goes, and you notice them, each person you notice, you just, in your mind, you say, "I love you." And imagine you're saying it right to them, like they can hear you, like they know you're saying it, and they hear you. And then cut that off. And then visualize yourself traveling through your city, not doing that, which might be more natural, maybe the way that you're used to moving through the city, and that's not really paying any attention to anybody else, unless it's necessary. Not really noticing people as they go to and fro to try and make their lives work out. See if you feel the difference in your body, in your mind. As you just only focus on what's useful to you. When you pause, you kind of go into neutral and have a little think. A little think for a second. Wow, all these people that are coming and going, they're just like me. They're exactly like me. It doesn't matter what they're doing. It doesn't matter what they're wearing. It doesn't matter where they're from. It doesn't matter how much money they have or how much money they don't have. It doesn't matter whether they're healthy or whether they're sick. Whether they're old or whether they're young. It doesn't matter what color they are. It doesn't even matter whether they appear to like me or not. They all want to be happy. And they all want to avoid pain. Everything they do is motivated by this wish to be happy and to avoid pain. One way or the other. And you feel this thing in your heart, oh, I wish that they all could be happy and avoid pain. And then you take the pause off your visualization and you start going again. And you reassert your I love you. And feel the shift in your body. But this time, behind the I love you is this compassion. Maybe it pulls your heart. Maybe it's heavy in your heart, but also an opening in your heart as you realize that nobody wants to suffer. Nobody wants to suffer. And yet suffering comes. Nobody wants it. And everybody wants happiness. So in your mind you're thinking, oh, they deserve not to suffer. They deserve to be happy. They should. And so that's behind your mindset as you say, I love you. So as you say, I love you, you're also wishing them happiness, and you're wishing that they wouldn't suffer with this love that you have in your heart for them, this love, this compassionate love. And then you continue on your journey, and you just start to do that. Giving every single person that you happen to be able to notice, just a couple seconds, maybe even 1 second, I love you. Maybe longer, maybe you sort of watch them as they turn the corner at the green light and keep on going, and just kind of stay with them, I love you, and they disappear, and then you're focused on the next person that you happen to see. And that's nice. We'll gently drop that visualization and come back to the room. Always coming back gently, having the eyes gently looking downward and then slowly opening your eyes and ticking in the room as you come back. We'll come back. So I'm over at the door now. So we can maybe it'll hold the cold there. But it might also be too loud, so we'll see. So you can decide whether the street's too loud with that door open. And you can also bring the fan. I just know what it's like to be hot in a drama class. It makes it way harder to take in the information.
I'm happy to switch with anyone. That's okay, probably.
And maybe even that door you should open, because that will get a cross breeze going. Is that? Yeah. You need a blanket, Amanda? Charjit needs a blanket.
Yeah.
Charjit has a sweater on.
I know. Yeah, I was gonna go sit over there.
Get cozy on the couch.
Yeah. Well, I wish she was 15.
So, how's that? Is that okay? The temperature so far? Yeah. When I was with my llamas, not in town, but when I was on Gabriel Island, so me and Sherry and Christine, we would beetle off in the yurt and try to prepare like a kirtan before we start some music. And one time we were a little bit late. I think it was like a few minutes past the time when the class was going to start. And we came in, and Lama Roger was sitting there, and Lama hadn't come down the stairs yet to teach with him, but he was sitting there and he was just like teaching to an empty room. He walked in, he was like, and you must come join that with emptiness. This is your, he just kept, and there's like nobody in that room. Really funny. Really so funny. So that meditation that we just did, just, you don't have to answer out loud if you don't want to, but could you feel a difference in your body, in your mind, some shift as you went to like I love you, and then to in the back, kind of like, you know, maneuvering your way through the city, and like not really paying too much attention to like people. Is that blowing your face?
I think it's drawing on my contact. But it's good. I can just take it out.
Oh, just turn it so we don't put it right on your face. Maybe this whole family is just less than futility. I should just turn it off.
I'll end up sneezing.
Should I turn it off?
I think with that door and this
Okay.
door. Yeah.
Okay.
I was on you. I like the.
You like it?
Maybe it.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see if we start to like our mascara starts to melt. Or then I'll turn it on. But that kind of visualization is fun. It's not as easy to do it, kind of imagining yourself walking around and doing this and that. So that's like your homework. That's your homework. If you choose to accept your mission, like Tom Cruise, if you choose to accept the mission, then before next class, just try to do that as you're in transit. Just notice other people. Just notice them. Like, decide you're going to notice them, and tell them that you love them. And you will have an endless opportunity. There's a bloody sea of people that just come and go, and you just, I don't know about you, but you're at a stoplight and people are turning left, and they just like zoom, 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 they're going by you. There goes like a universe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 universes just went by, and all their whole lives, and all their hopes and dreams, and all how they relate to their families, and all this, it just goes by, right? And it ties in nicely with that Tong Lin meditation where you inhale suffering and you release, you exhale good things. But, not only does it feel good in the moment, It might not. Of course, it's empty of self-existence, meaning maybe some days you'd find that irritating, or you wouldn't like it, or it may bring stuff up for you. You may get uncomfortable. You may think, "Oh my God, no, I can't." Or it may show you. It may show you. Maybe your heart is constricted that day, which you might make it uncomfortable. You don't actually want to do it. So it's not like Yulia's question about 7 lifetimes to enlightenment after you see emptiness directly. Like that, there's not any self-existence to that. There's not any self-existence to this kind of meditation. But the beauty of it is it will bring a karmic result. It will change your mind. If you do it a lot, it will change your mind over time. It will change your mind. It will make you a more loving person by being more loving. It's like, how do you become good at anything? You start with scales. You start doing scales first. I had a music lesson recently with this guy from the church. His name's Cameron, a brilliant guy. But he used the analogy of, you do scales in the beginning because you need to learn the alphabet. You can't talk unless you know the alphabet first. And then eventually, you let go of the alphabet. And it's not like we speak with each other and we're thinking, okay, I'm going to use L, O, and V, and E. And I'm going to, it's not like that. So, but in the beginning, maybe we need to learn the alphabet. So in the beginning, you kind of like, if it's not natural to feel like you're loving people, then we need to learn the alphabet. And sometimes that means just putting yourself there and noticing, oh yeah, I have that choice. oh yeah, I forgot. I actually have that choice. I can leave the house, and I have a mental choice to have my eyes down on the sidewalk and like be thinking about me all the time, and maybe say hi to the bus driver, and then get in and just kind of avoid and go through my office and whatever, and say hi to people I like, and just kind of. But I do have a choice. I can expand the idea of myself. I can expand the idea of who I'm embracing in my world. And that will have a direct impact on your soul, on your spirit, on your being, however you want to say it. And for some weird reason, it makes you happier. It does. Or it can. It makes you happier. And most importantly, it gets us off ourself. Most importantly. The most important thing. It gets us off ourself, which is the source of all trouble. Constantly just me, what about me? Sometimes we have to think about ourselves because we need to be healthy. We need to give ourselves enough so that we can be systems. It's not like we can completely burn ourselves out and not take care of ourselves. That doesn't help anyone. But you find that place. So anyways, I do that a lot. That thing that we did in meditation, I do that a lot. I've been doing that for years. And I want to share that with you. And I don't think anybody even taught that to me. It's not in scripture anywhere that I've ever read. But I started doing that quite a few years ago. And it made a big impact in my life. So here we are in class 9. We're just about through this course. Right, Sarah? And you remember, we've been talking about the Wheel of Knives, right? So, let's consider the Wheel of Knives. The Wheel of Knives is a nice platter that Domino's delivers with plastic knives. That's what the Wheel of Knives is. That's what we've been talking about this whole time. It's this beautiful little ornate platter that you can get. They deliver it 2 for 1. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. No one's gonna.
Not one group.
Oh, it's not. It's not what it is. The wheel of knives is something else.
Yeah.
No, the wheel of knives is something else. This is kind of like Tibetan debate. This is what we say dumb things. You always open up a Tibetan debate with like the ridiculous. Right? So you're saying that the wheel of knives is something other than this thing that I just mentioned.
Sure.
Well, since we've been studying it, then I guess you can tell me what the wheel of knives is.
Sure.
Sure.
The wheel of knives is like a boomerang of karma. It past misdeeds.
That's misdeeds,
Or it would be nice.
right?
The wheel of flowers.
Right. And we talked about that. Like, why not turn it into a wheel of flowers, right? But for this teaching, for this Lojong, he calls it the wheel of knives because it is always about your negative karma. He's talking about negative karma all the time. The wheel of knives is the echo, the boomerang, the bounce back of all the negative things that I have done in my mind, with my speech, with my body, for lifetimes. This lifetime, the one before that, and any other lifetime before that, which is countless. You can't count them. How are you gonna get to the beginning of you? There was no beginning. There's like countless. So the last class, we got to the point where he's like, okay, I understand that this wheel of knives is the cause of all my pain. And that was halfway through the verse of this Lojong. Then we now move into the new section of the Lojong where he decides that, okay, fine, I understand now. What am I going to do about it? And this is when he calls up this wrathful state of mind, and he's calling upon this. It's like a tantric teaching in a way. It's a tantric teaching in a way, and he calls up this tantric angel of death called Yamantika, or Bhairav, or Yamari. However, they're all the same being, right? And he decides, okay, fine. I'll deal with you, oh Mr. Wheel of Knives thrower. Oh, you who continues to throw these wheels of knives, which is the source of all my suffering. I'm going to get radical, and I'm going to turn the wheel of knives on your ass. I'm going to turn it around on you. And it's very cool because it may be hard to relate to, well, what is he talking about? I mean, is there some like monster that he's going to call, like some big monster that's his like invisible friend that's going to show up and then take care of all his business for him, and nobody can see him but him, and he's like, okay, Yamantika, this person, okay, Yamantika, slice off my misperceptions, right? Slice off my self-cherishing. But here's a nice way to think of that. The scariest, most terrifying monster to our selfishness is the truth. Right? It is wisdom. So you can personify it. So it's like, okay, may my wisdom increase to the point of I myself become terrifying to myself. I myself become terrifying to the me that continues to mess it all up for me. I myself become the terror to the me that just continuously is prideful, continuously is, um, wants for itself, continually selfish. And, if you haven't experienced this kind of thing yet in your practice, if you practice a spiritual practice seriously enough, at some point, you will reach a place where you're like, oh my God, I have so much jealousy. And it becomes very clear to you. Oh my God, I have so much anger. I have anger in my heart. Oh my God, I have hatred in my heart. And it becomes clear to you. I have pride. I have the worst kind of pride. I have spiritual pride. Right? I'm proud that I'm a teacher. I get some kind of like rush from teaching. I feel like I'm special because I'm teaching, or something like that. That's like spiritual pride is, I think, I don't know, maybe like the worst, because it uses your own spiritual practice. Like, so at some point, if you have enough pride, and it's mixed with low self-esteem, right? If you have enough low self-esteem and you need to feel like somebody, then that persona in you will just use anything it can. And then it will use your spiritual practice. Oh yes, I am a meditator. I'm a meditator. I'm a Buddhist. I know things. I know about the pen. I've seen the pen, I know about the pen. And you're with your friends, and maybe they don't appear to know about it. They don't know about these things you're studying. And then maybe you want to say it, but maybe you want to say it because you want to feed this thing. Yeah, I've been doing this thing. I'm just this great person now. I'm becoming even greater. It's really amazing how great I'm becoming. It's like I'm just making leaps and bounds of greatness. And you don't even know. You don't even know what I do at home by myself in the meditation cushions. That's a really sneaky form of pride. It uses your own, right? It uses your own, and it's kind of crazy because in the end, the pride will have to fall. And sometimes you need a bit of pride to get yourself on the cushion. Sometimes, you need to want to look good to get onto the yoga mat. Maybe for a while that needs to be your only motivation. Like, I want to be the best asana person in class. I want to be the best triangle in class. Or I want to, maybe that's what it takes to, and then eventually, that will just, if you do your yoga properly, and you have fortunately, if you're fortunate enough to have a teacher that teaches it the right way, that will just fall away. But you got to your mat. So whatever's getting you to your cushion, right, whatever's getting you there is good, and then you'll just have to face it, because it will just come up. You'll see it. And then you'll have this movement of mind. You'll be like, it's terrible. I have to go after it. I have to hunt this thing down. When I had my first tantric empowerment for my lamas, it was a week-long affair. It was an amazing situation with the students and the lamas, very, very unique and powerful, deep. And I remember leaving the island, and I was in the back seat of the car, and I was very kind of quiet. And I thought, I have to kill my pride. I said, oh God. Because when I was in the empowerment, and all during it, like, I could see it so clearly, how I was prideful in all these kinds of little ways. In these kind of subtle kinds of ways. And they're so subtle. They're so subtle. And they increase in their subtlety. And I just remember this feeling in my heart. And interestingly enough, that empowerment was like a wrathful deity kind of empowerment. And I did have that feeling, like this wrathful kind of like, I am hunting you down, pride of mine. Whatever it takes, I can see so clearly that you, my little friend, are the cause of all my misery, and have been the cause of all my misery, and have been causing other people misery, and have been doing stupid things for as long, you think you're smart, but you do stupid things, and you've been doing stupid things for as long as I can remember. You know? And so, but there's enough of you there that's aware of this, so there's hope, right? And you're just like, I'm going to go after you. That's the demon. That's the demon to the klesha. So the klesha, which means mental affliction. So your mental afflictions are terrified of that. They're like, oh no, he's ramping it up now. He's really ramping it up. He's getting serious now. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? Oh, we'll figure out some other way. Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll make him proud that he's doing that. That's what we'll do. Yeah. Like, but that's why the Lama is scary. When you go see the Lama, if you have a heart connection to your Lama, and there's usually at least a slight discomfort. Usually there's at least some little tremor of like, you don't really quite know how to act. You know? You're not like quite relaxed. Because the Lama is your undoing, you see? The Lama is the undoing of your mental afflictions. And that's all the Lama is there for. The Lama is not there to be your buddy-buddy. The Lama is there, yes, does the Lama love you? Yeah. The Lama loves you possibly more than you've ever been loved before by anyone, ever. Because it doesn't matter what you do. They don't want anything from you but for your happiness to arise out of the muck of your mental afflictions. So what do they need to do? They need to show your mental afflictions. What is that? Scary. It's frightening. So when you go visit the Lama, you're like just making an offering, and you kind of hope everything goes well. You know? I hope I get out of here alive. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, and then you get out of there and you're like, you don't even know why. That was intense. Because the Lama can see. You see, if you have a good Lama, they've already done this. If you have a good Lama, they've purged themselves of all these things. They know the horror of the mental afflictions. They've exercised themselves of it. So it's easy for them to see yours. They're like, but it doesn't change their love for you. They love for you. Their love for you is great, and so they just figure out ways to help you remove them. And that's why we resist the guru. We resist the Lama, and that's why. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're scary from their own side. It's the fact that our mental afflictions want to live. Desperately. They want to live. What do you need, Tanji? A Kleenex for Amanda. How do you even know that? You only see the back of her head. Tanji is developing these superpowers. So, I want to just read from the reading for a minute, because it's so great. It's so poignant. This is right out of the reading. So maybe just close your eyes and visualize in this as I go through this beautiful scripture. And remember, we've gotten to the point where, okay, we know now. It's the wheel of knives. All our suffering is coming from the wheel of knives. We figured this out. Since this is the way things are, I've finally realized just who my enemy is. I've caught the thief who lay in wait and deceived me with his trap. He's a masquerader, fooling others, and fooling himself as well. I see it now. He's the habit I have of grasping to myself, and of this there can be no doubt. Now let's see the wheel of knives, the wheel of karma. cut his skull. O angel of wrath, now, cut his skull. Cut thrice. Stand like a god on widespread legs, a knowledge of two truths. Stare in hatred with two eyes of method and wisdom. Open your jaws and show your fangs. Four powers of confession. Sink them deep within the flesh of this, my hated foe. I call on the king of the secret knowledge and secret words that work to torture all these enemies. There is no freedom here in the woods of the vicious circle of this life. Take up in your hands the wheel of knives. Take up the wheel of karma. Speed to the side of my foe, the cruel one, evil demon that he is, this grasping to myself, broken vows and promises, waster of my life and others. Go and fetch him here. Fetch him, bring him, Lord of anger, Lord of death. Strike, strike now. Strike this highest foe in his heart. With a roar of hell, smash now the skull of my misperceptions, the ones who have wasted my life. Bring your death to the heart of this butcher, my greatest enemy. Hung, hung, mighty angel, show your mystic power. Za, za, force the enemy to swear his allegiance. Pet, pet. Break, I beg you, all my chains. Break and smash. Cut the ties that make me grass. Come to me, angel of wrath, Lord of death. Take this pitiful sack filled with 5 poisons, mired by the force of karma and afflictions, in this filth of the vicious circle of life. Come, I beg you, come right now, and rip this bag to shreds. He would escort me to the terrors of the 3 lower realms. I don't know enough to be afraid of him. I run to the things that would take me there. With a roar of hell, smash now the skull of my misperceptions, the ones who have wasted my life. Bring your death to the heart of this butcher, my greatest enemy. He chases after happiness, but knows nothing of how to make it come. The slightest unpleasant thing is unbearable to him, and at the same time he's full, insatiable, wanting all the wrong things. With a roar of hell, smash now the skull of my misperceptions, the ones who have wasted my life. Bring your death to the heart of this butcher, my greatest enemy. He's quick to want and slow to work. He does everything and finishes nothing. With a roar of hell, smash now the skull of my misperceptions, the ones who have wasted my life. Bring your death to the heart of this butcher, my greatest enemy. He's quick to make new friends and slow to show consideration to the ones he has. His aspirations are limited to food, and he's ready on a moment's notice to steal, to covet, to fly into a fury. With a roar of hell, smash now the skull of my misperceptions. He's a master of trying to get things out of others through flattery and sweet hints. But he still talks bad about everyone. He's ready in a minute to make a buck, but he's so cheap that what he has is glued to his pockets. With a roar of hell, smash now the skull of my misperceptions, the ones who have wasted my life. Bring your death to the heart of this butcher, my greatest enemy. He makes a great show of the troubles he takes to help others in some insignificant way. At the same time, he's dying for a way to help himself without any trouble at all. With the roar of hell, smash now the skull of my misperceptions, the ones who have wasted my life. Bring your death to the heart of this butcher, my greatest enemy. He has lots of big lamas and lots of inability to keep any of the pledges that they gave him. He has lots of students following him and lots of inability to give them any real help when they need it. With the roar of hell, smash now the skull of my misperceptions, the ones who have wasted my life. Bring your death to the heart of this butcher, my greatest enemy. He's sworn himself to every great deed and actually accomplished practically nothing that is any help to others. He's famous, but if you look closely, the angel was kidnapped by a devil. With a roar of hell, smash now the skull of my misperceptions, the ones that have wasted my life. Bring your death to the heart of this butcher, my greatest enemy. The breadth of his spiritual learning is about 0, but his talk is big and meaningless. The breadth of his spiritual study is about 0, but still he's had a million realizations. of realizing nothing. With the roar of hell, smash now the skull of my misperceptions, the ones who have wasted my life. Bring your death to the heart of this butcher, my greatest enemy. So that's it keeps going and going. It keeps going page after page. So that's a taste of the reading of what he's like, right? He sees like Dharma Rakshita has finally seen, okay, I get it now. It's this guy, it's this me. And it's very sweet. So maybe if you think about it like this, maybe it will change your opinion about things that you see. When you see people with like skulls on their shirts or like things like that, maybe what they're doing is they're trying to remind themselves like of, okay, I need to get serious about my mental afflictions. Like, you see some person driving a big truck with raised way off the ground, these big huge tires, and they've got like, skull and crossbones across the hood and like skulls everywhere and like black flags and pirate flag. Like, maybe that's empty of any self-existence. Who knows? Maybe they've decided, okay, that's it. I'm gonna emotionally make some kind of investment in this type of persona, and every time I get in my truck, I'm gonna be reminded that I'm gonna smash my own pride. Right? Like, for instance, Mariska today showed up with a pair of socks with little skulls on them. Right? So in Tibetan Buddhism, you'll often see images of skulls and skeletons and wrathful deities, and that's what it's about. It's about the power of wisdom. It's not that there are scary monsters out there that you didn't make with your mind. It's supposed to be like the you that you become, right? So if you don't have any mental afflictions, if you don't have any pride or any jealousy or any like low self-esteem or any of these little sniveling things that wander in the dark of your mind, if you don't have any of those, then there can be no like fiery Amantika that looks as terrifying. Then that same pranic force or pranic being or energy is a teddy bear. Is a great big cuddly bear. Because wisdom has become your friend, you see. Wisdom is your enemy for as long as you have afflictions. Wisdom is the greatest enemy to your mental afflictions. Because you can't have wisdom and a mental affliction at the same time in your mind. Like, wisdom pushes the mental afflictions up. So the idea is, okay, yeah, if I need this wrathful type of wisdom that is going to be scary to my mental afflictions, bring it on then. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll use whatever karmic tools I have in my toolbox to go after my self-cherishing and my ignorant way of seeing the world. And then when that work is done, there's no use for a monster anymore. And then it switches to like your best friend. So that's the whole point, is to make wisdom your best friend. Make wisdom. Right? Make wisdom and compassion your closest friends, your closest allies, your spiritual mentors. Because that's all the Lama is showing you your own wisdom. And they're showing you your own compassion. They're showing you your own love. If you didn't have any capacity for wisdom or love or compassion, the Lama could do nothing. They could talk all day long. It would just like bounce off your head because it would be impossible. But it's like our natural state somehow veiled by many, many layers of misperception and confusion. And the Lama is just there pulling them off one by one. If you give them the power to do so. So, so he sees the two ways. He sees the two states of mind that are all the trouble. Okay, there's two states of mind that are all the trouble. And what are those two states of mind that are all the trouble? Grasping and aversion. Good, but not quite what the Lojong's about. Of course, those are two little devils that cause a lot of trouble in us. But he says, since in the very beginning, right, of this reading we started today, since this is the way things are, I finally realized just who my enemy is. I've caught the thief who lay in wait and deceived me with this trap. He's a masquerader fooling others. I see it now. He's the habit I have of grasping to myself. So grasping in that way. So, and there's two states of mind he's talking about. Two kinds of grasping to himself that we're talking about. Okay? Two kinds of grasping. One of them is the misunderstanding of the emptiness of yourself. And the other one is the state of mind that watches out for number one. Okay. So it's Ran Chenzin, say Ran Chenzin, and Dak Zin. So Ran Chenzin is Tibetan for like the state of mind that watches out for number one. And Dak Zin means grasping to something as being self-existent. Dak means self-nature, and Zin means it grasps. So here, how does that relate to like a negative situation? How do those two states of mind relate to a negative situation? So, say you're in a situation and someone is doing something bad to you. Maybe you're in let's say you're in a public situation. Maybe you're in a room and there's 10 other people there, and something goes down. Someone yells at you. It's very cool. The self-cherishing part of those two states of mind is the me that is like, as soon as that goes down, it's only concerned about itself. It suddenly stops thinking about everybody else. I'm being yelled at by this person. I'm being yelled at, I'm being called a name by this person in front of everybody else. All of a sudden, I'm the most important being in the room. All of a sudden, it's all about me. I don't care about anybody else's suffering at all. It's because all you can focus on in that moment is your own, oh my God. You know, someone is attacking me. The me that I want to not, you know. I want people to like me, and I want to like me. I don't want to be seen this way. I don't want to be seen as the person being yelled at. I don't want it to be true, any of these things that this person is saying. And the other type is where you don't understand where the negative situation came from. So, not understanding that my own non-virtue, that my own wheel of knives brought upon this negative situation, forced this negative situation that I'm interpreting as a negative situation in that moment. Not understanding that is one aspect. That's misunderstanding the emptiness. And the second aspect of it is the self-cherishing. Like, oh my God, it's all about me. And it happens. Like, it just lights up in your mind, and all you can think about is the me that's been wrong, and everyone else disappears. And so he's just saying, okay, these two states of mind, I need to get serious about. It's like the self-cherishing is the one that is suddenly, unequivocally, how do you say that? Yeah, like that. Saying, I am unhappy in this moment. Unequivocally? Okay, I am unhappy in this moment. And that's the only concern. That's like that self-cherishing. I remember, I always think of this, in this kind of a talk, I always think of this one of the times. I was at work, and it was a concrete job. And I remember because it was, often those concrete days were just miserable days to begin with. But we're down in this deep hole, and we're working on a high rise. And we're at the very bottom, so we're building the parking, right? And we're about halfway through the day. Hot out, and the foreman's name is Tony. Tony the foreman. And there's about 8 other guys he's in charge of. And so we're on a break. And the only reason why we're breaking is because there's no concrete to be supplied. So that's the only time we get to stop. And everyone's standing around in a circle, and they're all like talking. And Tony's like the foreman. He's kind of like the big guy. Everybody respects him, and kind of like, I don't know. They're nicer to him because he's the foreman, And I used to often have that thing where I would just feel like I wanted to say something, What about me? When am I going to get to say something in this circle of men? And I always remember this one time, and I chirped in, and Tony looks at me and said, "Shut up, John. You have no place in this circle. You have no say in this circle." Like he said that. Like, how insane is that? What a recipe for like a bad day. Like right after that, and I remember standing there just like squirming in my boots, right? And just like, and I can say in that moment, I am unhappy in this moment. And like there was no one else but me being unhappy in that moment and being totally and confused. Like, what did I do to deserve this? I've been working hard all day. I've been trying to please you, O foreman, all day by working my ass off all day for you, so that you're happy with my performance. And then so, did I have any clue that was the wheel of knives come to slice my head off? No, I did not. And so it burned me. Right? Like, it burned me for years. I would just think about that. Just, Tony, But me being who I was, I didn't snap back. I just took it. Showed up for work and kept going. The next day, tried to make Tony like me some other way. Right? So, like, that's a good example of how just for no reason. I didn't say anything other than, I might have said 5 or 6 words. I don't even know. So, it's, what's that?
The snowmobile.
Oh yeah, that one. That one too. We all know the snowmobile story, don't you? Okay. I'm a little kid. I'm like 10 or something, and I remember it's the middle of winter. I'm in a snowsuit. Okay, I got the hood on, this whole thing, right? And me and my little friend are out there, and one of the dads has a snowmobile, and he's giving rides, and this is very exciting, and because not all the dads have snowmobiles, only a few have snowmobiles. So he's off, whipping around, and there was 2 of us, me and my friends. And so there's a third kid. He's got a third kid out there, and then he comes back, gets off the thing, and it's all fantastic and great. And the kid in the back gets off. He's all happy. And the dad walks up to us, and he says, "Okay, you're next." And he points to the guy next to me, the kid next to me, and I just freaked out. I went, but I wanted to go next, right? And it just came out of me, and I remember it, the feeling of this to this day of knowing as the words came out that it was all wrong. It was so wrong. But also being completely unable to stop it and confused about it, confused about why I did it. And then looking up at him, and I couldn't take it back. It's out in the world now. And then he looked at me, and like with those eyes that the parent can do, right? Like he just gave me the look, and I'm like, and I couldn't say, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that was dumb. I know that was like, I don't know, unthankful and unpolite and all the things that it wasn't. I know. But it was too late. I just had to stand there and like shrivel and take the heat. But I stayed there and waited for him to come back. And I got on the snowmobile and got my ride. You know, I felt a little sullen, a little like. But I still like had the thrill of the snowmobile ride. But it's like that, not understanding. And it was, you know, this is the cool thing about learning these kinds of things, because then you get to go back at your life, and you just can button these things all up. You go, yeah, wow. I had extreme ignorant desire in that moment. No biggie. You know, I had ignorant desire. I couldn't help it. I was in the throes of my ignorant desire, and not only that, but you know, I had that karma of then being scorned by the guy. He could have laughed and made light of it or whatever, but you know, the situation intensified with the dad, right? Who I guess act like dads should act, I guess. But then you get to look at all those things. You know? And so then later I can look back and see this whole Tony thing, and like there's not a, now I can tell it with great humor. But years and years ago I would tell a story and I'd be like shaking a little bit. Like telling the story, and it was like this residual association with it, like, you know, he wronged me, right? How dare he wrong me in front of all my peers, right? And this thing is the thing that the monster has to take out, and it's just wisdom, which is scary to that me. Is frightened of that devil. It's just wisdom. That's all it is. It's just wisdom. It's just knowing where things come from. Yeah. And you know, and any situation is so fraught with so much karmic possibility, right? Like, so in that circle of people, as I got yelled at from Tony, so everybody has their own karmic situation going on there. And so maybe someone in the circle, maybe they like had a little secret gloat, right? I never liked John anyways, now he's getting his. Or maybe someone went, oh my God, that must have hurt. You know, and maybe he came up to me later and said, you know, I don't know what he was doing. You know, sorry that you had to have that experience. Right? And what if, I don't know, you know, like what if I had acted differently? What if I had responded? I don't know what I could have said in that moment to have it be a teaching of compassion for everybody. I have no idea, but I definitely wasn't there at the time. But like, you see, as you learn these kinds of things, not only can you learn to know where things are coming from, but not snap back in the moment, and then have that be a teaching for everybody, a silent teaching for everybody, as they see you like not react like a normal person would. Anyway, just wanted to give you the flavor. The whole point of this part of the class is just to give you a flavor, a feeling of like how badass you have to get on your own, like on our own self-cherishing and how our own misperceptions, you know, like how do you, like studying emptiness, studying where the nature of reality, like any single time you sit and go, okay, like where is this object coming from? Like, why is this not a clock? Why is there no clock here other than the clock that I'm seeing from in my mind? Like, how is it that this is just an object that is potentially anything that anyone can perceive because it doesn't have clock in it from its own side? Every time you do that, that's like you bringing down your misperceptions. That's, you know, and so you have to kind of get serious about it. Like if you still are wrestling with where things are coming from, then you sort of think, okay, you know what, I'm really going to go after it. I'm going to study these things a lot. I'm going to think about these things a lot. Anyway. So he says in there that he's standing on two legs. Stand like a god on widespread legs. So he's calling the two strong legs, he's calling that the knowledge of the two truths. Okay? It's very cool. So, I'm just some of the eyes here. Yeah, there's legs and there's eyes and there's fangs in this teaching. So, the two truths. We've talked a lot about it, so we don't need to go into it too much. But the two strong legs of knowing the two truths. So someone tell me what the two truths are. Anybody? Yeah. Ultimate truth and deceptive truth. Give me an example of deceptive truth.
The pen is a pen.
Right. The pen here. Let's just use this, okay. Deceptive truth. The deceptive truth. This pen is a pen from its own side. That's is the pen being deceptive? Is the pen being sneaky and lying? No, right? The mind is deceived. The mind looks at the object and thinks the pen is there from its own side. So that's deceptive truth. What's the ultimate truth? The emptiness of the pen. The fact that the pen isn't coming from its own side. So every object has both. Every object that you look at in this room or in your life has both. But most people, until they hear this kind of thing, they don't know that. And so they think that things have self-nature. They think things have qualities from their own side, and they behave accordingly. You know, I'll get this thing that looks like it will make me happy versus my karma. Not understanding that, okay, if I, like, there's nothing wrong with going shopping and buying a beautiful outfit. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You know, you want to look good. You want to, like, feel good. There's a difference between understanding, okay, I'm going to go downtown to the mall. I'm going to buy myself a nice outfit. It's going to cost $100 or $50, whatever you do. And if I feel good in these clothes, it's not from the clothes itself. Or if I look good in these clothes, it's not because of the clothes themselves. Because this shirt that I'm wearing doesn't look good. That's what Arya Nagarjuna would say. Arya Nagarjuna would say, that shirt does not look good. He would also say, that shirt does not look bad. He would say, right, that shirt is a beautiful shirt if the perceiver sees it that way. So it's deceptive in the way where maybe you think that, oh, look at that shirt. I'm going to be bloody amazing in that shirt. How much is that shirt? 200? Oh, how much when I got my credit card? 205? Great. I'll take that shirt home because I really believe that thing's going to do it. You know, that shirt's going to bring me my partner. Right? Couldn't be. And so, you know, understanding deceptive reality and ultimate reality would be going, okay, great, beautiful shirt. If I enjoy the shirt, if the shirt looks good, it'll be because of my virtue. If someone sees the shirt looking good, it will be because of their virtue. And then you're good. Then you do go shopping and you're not in any trouble. You're not in any trouble thinking that those things have that kind of power. So, that kind of thinking is a demon to your misperceptions. That is a demon. That is a scary monster to the self-cherishing that wants for itself and doesn't understand. So, now you're walking. You're this monster walking on these two legs of understanding that everything that you're looking at has those two truths. Okay? Now, what about his stare in hatred with two eyes? The two eyes are method and wisdom. Okay? So now he's got ultimate reality, deceptive reality, his two strong legs, but now he has these two hateful eyes. And his two hateful eyes are simply method and wisdom. What's method and wisdom?
His method to practice.
Yeah, that's one of the, yeah, sort of, but yeah. I mean, basically they'll say the practice side of things and then the wisdom side of things, but that's one way of saying it. And there's also another way of saying it.
But the actions that you do,
yeah,
the virtue that you plant.
Yeah, and specifically in relation to, or mainly in relation to the six perfections. Okay, so you remember there's method and there's wisdom, right? And what are the first four of the six perfections? Shout them out.
Giving, kindness or morality,
yeah,
patience,
yeah,
joyful effort.
Yeah, those are the first four. Right. So, being kind to others. Sorry, giving is the first one. Yeah, giving, being generous, being kind to others, being patient, which means destroying your anger, which means not being angry, right? And joyful effort, doing all those kinds of things with great joy. So that doing good deeds with joy. So those four aspects, they will be the activities that you do in your life over and over and over again to produce in you, in your mind, the causes for you to have the body of an enlightened being. Okay? So inside your physical body is the inner spiritual body, made of streams, countless streams of light-like substance. And you need to wake that up. You need to wake that up so that you can not be trapped by a suffering human physical form, right? And then there's the wisdom side of it. So what are the second two perfections? I mean, the fifth and sixth of the six perfections. Stillness and wisdom. So concentration, wisdom, or meditation and wisdom. So you meditate increasing the stillness of your mind so that you can easier and easier focus on wisdom, the emptiness of things. And that will put the causes in your mind to have the mind of an enlightened being. So, if you're going to flit about in the world and be, with kindness all the time, and you're have a joyful effort being kind, and you're being generous, and you're being very, very watchful with your anger, and you're cutting it off as much as you can, and you're destroying your anger, increasing your patience, and you're doing all of that with a mind that is getting stiller and stiller. Right? It's getting more like the pond with no ripples on it. That just becomes the natural state of your mind, no matter what is going on. In chaos, you've got placid water in your mind. And you've been igniting this understanding of where things are coming from in your mind. Understanding that this object has no self-nature. Understanding over and over and over and over again that this does not come from its own side. Those two main types of activity are like eyes of hatred to your mental afflictions. Because that's going to be the death of your self-cherishing. How is it going to be possible for you to continue having this me that wants for itself if you're running around planting the exact opposite karma of what made that thing in the beginning, which was like the opposite of giving, the opposite of kindness, the opposite of patience, the opposite of joyful effort. That's what made the me that is so troublesome. So then, the hateful eyes of method and wisdom. Not understanding where things come from. Having this scattered mind that can't focus on anything. Like, that's what's created and keeps recreating that me. So there we have it. Two eyes of hatred. Fire coming out of the eyes. Scary. But only scary to the misperceptions. Only scary to the self-cherishing. Now he's got 4 fangs. He also has these 4 fangs. And these 4 fangs are the 4 powers. The 4 powers of confession, right? So this isn't the class to go into the 4 powers. So if you don't know what the 4 powers are, you can ask another person that would know. So he's like, sink them deep, these fangs, into the flesh of my hated foe. Right? So this is just a real kind of wrathful feeling thing of saying, well, listen, just get your head around deceptive reality and ultimate reality, get your head around acting in the 6 perfections, and get your head around doing the 4 forces, or the 4 powers, and use all that, and that will be the ultimate destroyer. That then becomes the ultimate destroyer of my ignorant mind and my self-cherishing. That's it. That's really what it's all about. It's simple. And it can be confusing, especially when you start getting these teachings, even when you get into Tantra and you start learning these things, you can start thinking, well, are these deities about metaphor? Is this a metaphor? Some kind of metaphor? The point is, it's not a metaphor. The point is that being is your karma. That being does exist. That Yamantika, that fiery demon that's going to go after your kleshas, it does exist if you create it. It is cultivated and grows from the spiritual qualities that exist within you. So the more realizations you have, and the more you develop your spiritual qualities, the more wrathful that powerful being becomes that you become. And the smaller little mini-yous that are trying to survive get annihilated by this powerful thing that you're becoming. There is no monster deity out there. There is no monster deity that exists that you did not create with your karma, right? That's just it. So you use that when you need to use that. And you become this powerful thing. No, I ain't taking any of this anymore. And so you just notice when you're about to do something foolish, that you know is, it's like you're walking down the street and somebody's coming, or say you're parked at the light and someone's like running up to your car with a squeegee, and you're like, maybe you're like, in your mind, you're like, get away from me, don't touch my car. In fact, I do not want to give you any money. Like, I'm not into this right now. I don't want to be generous. And then it's like, you just go, no, 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 no. Yamantaka, help me right now. Yamantaka, help me slay the stinginess and force me to reach into my wallet and give this person something. Because I don't understand. Like right now, I am thinking that this is like, I don't know, a homeless person that is self-existently a homeless person that self-existently wants my money. And if I'm bothered by it, it's because they are here in my face trying to wash my car window. So it's like, okay, Slayer of the Lord of Death, please help me now and slay my misperception. Help me see that this is my karma that's happening here. If it's negative, that's my karma. If it's positive, that's my karma. If I don't want to give money, even if I have money to give, but I will not give it, then I certainly don't know where money comes from. I think that, did I think that this $20 bill in my pocket came from me not giving? It drives me crazy when I pull up to the light and it's like, they come, and usually if I have money, it's in my pocket and I can't reach it because the light's going to change. Or I'll try it, and often I'll try to give them something, and they don't want anything. They want money. You want an apple? Nah.
Not even organic chocolate.
They don't even want it. They have no interest in it. Just give me a tuna or a loony, buddy. You just wash your window. Right? And so in any situation like that, sometimes I'm mindful enough to have change handy because it drives me crazy. Because I know my wallet's way in there, and I don't really carry change too much. I mostly put the change away to save it for retreats, and so I'd have to dig in, get my wallet out, like go through there and get a $5 bill, and get in his hand by the time the light changes, which isn't going to happen. So it's good to be ready for those situations so that you're not caught. Or you can simply be in that situation and just be aware. If you don't have anything to give them and they're not taking anything from you but money, you can just have your awareness. Go, okay. This is not, I can't prove that this is not a Buddha doing this. There's no logical proof. If my reality is coming from me and not to me, then there's no way that I can prove that this is not a totally enlightened being washing my windows, forcing me to view my own, whatever it is I may be feeling, right? Because chances are, if you don't need that kind of a teaching, they don't come. Buddhas are smart. If you don't need that kind of a teaching, they're not going to come and, do anything to you that's going to push your buttons if you don't need that button pushed. So if you're getting your buttons pushed, that could very well easily be an enlightened being pushing them, totally on purpose. Oh yeah, John, you think you're doing so good in your spiritual practice? Here, let's try this one. See if you still have any impatience. Let's see if you can you still get angry? I don't know. Let's see. That's Tantric deities are produced by your own karma. And so if you don't see tantric deities, then you don't have the karma to see tantric deities. If you don't see yourself as a tantric deity, you don't have the karma to see yourself as a tantric deity. It's that simple. So you'll notice, if you're, I don't know if you remember, as I was reading the verses, he would describe a state of mind, and then there'll be a constant refrain, right? Smash the skull. The constant refrain of, I think it was, yeah. With the roar of hell, smash now the skull of my misperceptions, the ones who have wasted my life. Bring your death to the heart of this butcher, my greatest enemy. So he repeats that over and over again after he describes the mental affliction. And smash the skull of my misperceptions basically means smash the idea that things are coming from their own side. He's just saying smash that idea. That's what that means. So here's something interesting that I think you'll find interesting. Because you may have noticed at that point, he stops calling it the wheel of knives and starts calling it the wheel of karma. And he's saying, now I'm going to use karma to defeat my enemy. Before I was using karma to make my enemy. Now I was just throwing knives all day long. And I'm experiencing the result of that now. I was throwing the wheel of knives, which is the karma. So now he's saying, okay, I will use the same weapon that I've been using to kill myself unknowingly. Now that I know, I'll use the same principle of cause and effect, and I will defeat my enemy. How? Just what I said. Kindness, generosity, patience, joyful love, method, wisdom. Especially with wisdom. You do all those things with wisdom. And that will create the virtue that will destroy those enemies. Because your self-cherishing and misperceptions have never existed from their own side. They're not self-existent either. Your misperceptions are not self-existent. They're a karma. Your self-cherishing is not self-existent. It's a karma. So that's what makes it possible to get rid of them. So what's the ultimate antidote for self-cherishing? What's the karma? I'll ask Yulia. Yulia, oh sweet Yulia, sitting on the couch.
Yes, Lama.
What is, for self-cherishing, what is a very famous antidote that involves a movement of the mind? Tonglen. Yes. Yes. They say that because, right, you're like, it's like a breath practice where you visualize taking the suffering away from people and then giving them good things. It's a movement of the mind. You can't fix someone else's karma, but you can fix your own karma by this movement of your mind. So you can, so if the movement of when we are totally taken over by the self-cherishing me, all our movements of mind are the exact opposite of Tonglen.
You give out pain, you suck in goodness.
Yeah, you give out pain, you suck.
Like
You suck. Exactly, you're like a Hoover vacuum. But So those are mental. That's mental. You're like it starts in the mind first. You're like me, gimme, 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 me. So the opposite mind, like the antidote to that, is like replanting. Like I gotta get some different karma in there. I gotta inject some different karma into my mind. I am in some serious trouble here. So you start doing Tonglen. May you not suffer. I take your suffering from you. I inhale it into my heart. I blow it up into light. Boom! It's gone forever. I exhale all the goodness that you could possibly want. You can't. If you are doing that really well, you can't stay in a self-cherishing mode. It just pushes it aside. Hello, man. Welcome back to class. And what's the ultimate antidote for ignorance, misunderstanding of reality? What's the antidote for that? Yeah, wisdom. Just, considering the lack of self-nature to objects. That's a direct antidote to it. ACI 6, ACI 12, Dhammapada Sutra. This is very cool, okay? If at a certain point in your spiritual career, if you're doing the 6 perfections, mainly the 4 of method and the 2 of wisdom, and all of it is imbued with a deeper and richer and more profound sense of where reality is coming from. Why do I see this positive thing? Why do I see this negative thing? Why does it look like it's out there? Proving to yourself over and over again. This is what ACI 13 is going to be so awesome for. Because in ACI 13, you will learn you'll learn skills how to logic your way into this, and it's so important. But if you do that enough, at a certain point, they stop calling it karma. They stop calling it karma at a certain point, if you do it with enough wisdom. Because they say, does a Buddha collect karma? No. A Buddha is beyond karma. Because all a Buddha does is continuously, in a steady stream, snowball and plant and replant method and wisdom. That's all they're ever doing. That's all they're ever doing. They've lost, self-cherishing and misperception has long left the building to a Buddha. It doesn't even exist in their mind. Do they exist? Yeah. Are they alive? Yeah. What, are they just like innate? No. They're doing things. What are they doing? They're doing the 6 perfections. Completely and totally imbued with understanding the ultimate nature of reality. So they're beyond karma. They're not collecting karma anymore. They're just like, they've created their Buddha mind and Buddha body with their method and wisdom. So at a certain point in your spiritual career, you can reach this point where you're not collecting karma anymore because you're just collecting virtue. Which is tricky because the mind's, wait a minute, John, isn't any movement of the mind karma? Well, karma is typically associated with negative things. Karma, typically. So that's why they say Buddhists don't collect karma. They're outside of karma. So if you're on the game and you're doing method and with great wisdom, you're not collecting karma. What you're collecting are the 2 collections. The 2 collections that we talk about. Sokni. Sok means a big collection, and ni means 2 of them. So what are the 2 collections? Merit and wisdom. And what do the 2 collections bring you?
Body and mind.
Body and mind of an enlightened being. the two collections. So you stop collecting karma and you start collecting the two collections, which is, right, your physical actions in the world with compassion and love, the things that you do in the world for others, creating that body that will then you will perceive yourself as being the body of an enlightened being, and all the mental aspect behind that, which understands the wisdom of why you would be doing it and what people need so that they can understand, creates that omniscient mind of a Buddha who becomes the ultimate holy being who can help anyone because they know exactly what someone needs to start doing and stop doing. You know? So this is where you want to reach. You want to reach this place where you're no longer collecting karma, you're collecting the two collections. You're collecting merit and wisdom. And how do you do that? Well, you do the six perfections with as much wisdom as you can muster up in your mind at any point in time, and that will grow. And because it takes a certain amount of virtue for your wisdom to increase, it's great because they help each other. The wisdom helps the method, and the method helps the wisdom. They go hand in hand. The more kinder you are, the more kind you are, the more patient you are, the more you're making sure people are out of harm's way, and you're, watching your morality, not stealing, things like that. The more that produces the karma for you to have the virtue to then see emptiness directly. And the more you contemplate on emptiness, the more easier it is for you to understand why you would be kind, why you would not get angry. So they really help each other until finally that's all you're collecting. You go to work, you're not collecting a paycheck anymore. You're collecting the sixth method and wisdom. You go to work. That's where you want to be. You want to get up in the morning and be going to work and not thinking, I'm collecting a paycheck. I'm going into work because this is the place that is perfect for me to collect the two collections. I happen to maybe have the karma to get a paycheck out of that, which will help me practice, which will keep my body warm, which will provide me with the things I need to then keep on collecting the two collections. Boom. Buddha. Then he talks about, we talked about this already, but he's getting close to the end of his verse. He's saying, for whatever time remains in the days before myself, and for whatever time remains, and in the days before myself and those who are my parents have reached our enlightenment in the heaven below no other, may all of us, as we wander together, driven by karma through six worlds, love and cherish one another, love and cherish each other as one. So he's making a prayer that he can reach Buddha paradise. In the meantime, before I get there, bless me to have the strength to love everyone around me as I'm getting there. And in those days as well, may I find the strength to dwell alone within the three realms of misery, if this would be of service to a single other being. So this is where some people think that the whole trip is bodhisattvas don't get enlightened. They stay behind to help others, which is a complete dharma rumor. It's not true. The bodhisattva understands, I got to get enlightened as fast as I possibly can, so that I can be of the greatest service to people. He's just saying, okay, he's making a prayer. If it would help a single other person, I'd be willing to go to hell, if that's what it took. And if I could go to hell, I would, if it would help a single other person, right? Or I would go live in Vancouver. Or wherever it is. I would go and live there. Because there ain't no hell out there either. There ain't no hell other than the hell coming from your own mind that we project May I find the strength to never give up this bodhisattva behavior. May I draw into my being the suffering of all those who feel pain in the three lower realms of pain. So he's talking about Tonglen again. Then he says, and every moment after I arrive in the realm of hell, may the hell guards look upon me and see their holy Lama. May the rain of weapons they release upon me turn to a shower of blooms before they land. May I stand untouched. May peace and bliss then spread through my heart. So is he being poetic here, or is he actually being real? Right? If a bodhisattva who kept this kind of behavior long enough wanted to go to hell, could they go to hell? No. It's impossible. It's impossible. There ain't no hell that's not created by bad karma. But it's the wish that creates the karma that they can't go.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. It's that self-sacrificing wish that creates this thing where they try to go to hell, but they just see paradise. Right? The point is that they would be willing to if they could. If I could help you, if I could just enter your hell, I would gladly enter into your hell and beetle around with you if I could. But I can't. No one can enter another person's hell. Maybe, but it's just like Vancouver, right? You can be in a hellish realm and have your compadre beside you, and you're both kind of in a hellish realm, and you're both being screwed over by on all angles, living a horrible reality. But each one of you would be viewing your own separate hell, just like we all each view our own separate Vancouver, even though we all have the similar karma of being in Vancouver. It's like that. Right? So is it possible that someone could throw spears at you and they turn to flowers? Why not? Right? How different is that from someone doing all, going through their best efforts to try and irritate you, and they just can't? Maybe you got someone, maybe if you ever had a brother and a sister, sometimes they just make this game up, and they decide they're going to irritate the hell out of you all day. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's basically you're turning the spears into flowers, because your karma will not allow it to work. So you can't be irritated. And then the next day, they're trying to be kind to you, and that's irritating. Because that day you have the karma to be irritated. And you're getting mad at them, what do you mean? I'm just being nice. No, you're not. You're being irritating. Then you're turning flowers into spears. That's the emptiness of action. As your karma improves, right, the things that you think people are doing to hurt you will then change into the things that you think people are doing to try to help you. That's what I was talking about last week. Did anyone watch the movie, The Passenger?
Oh, I looked it up. I have seen it.
Yeah, what a great ending, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
Let's not blow it for everybody.
There's two though.
Oh, the one with Anne Hathaway.
Oh, you said one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the older one? Or the newer
I don't actually know. What's old and what's new, and as far as it's years old,
There's
right? It's
one
probably
that was in the 70s.
No,
it was
newer
in
than that.
2000.
newer than that. Maybe it's a remake, but it's called The Passenger, and it's it just culminates this awesome ending. You're like, whoa, right? Yeah.
What was the ending?
Everyone puts on a garbage bag and say, "This is a nice dress." Okay, we gotta move quickly. Yeah. The good thing is if we don't finish this class, the next class is very short. We can easily finish it. Next verse he says, think now, everything we see is something that happens from something else. Understanding that everything comes from something else is to see that nothing exists by itself alone. Things come, things go, but nothing is what it seems. Everything is an illusion. The face in a mirror is no face itself. When you spin a burning stick, you see a solid crimson circle. It's only as real as an image seen in a looking glass. You know what? Let's just stop. Because this is going to get heavy. He starts talking about. Parts now. So we're just going to stop. It's too hot in the room and it's too late. What's that?
It's too late for parts.
It's too late for parts. And the good news is the next class is mainly a review of something that we already covered. So we'll just whip this off next class and we'll finish up. So I think it's a good place to stop before we get into emptiness.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Teaching. I'm going to say now, please keep teaching.
If you like.
Okay. Sashi.
Buki Jukshin Meto Tram Virabling Shi Nyande Gen Adi Sangye Shindu Mete Uwa Gidro Kunanda Shinma Chupasho Idam Guru Ratnamandala Kamitayami Dike Wakun Sunam Yeshe Sozokshin Sunam Yeshe Lejunwe Dampar Kuni Topasho.
Thank you, everybody. Is there a question anybody wanted to ask?